Look, this video isn't just me moaning that the Bryan Mbeumo negotiations have been going on for 6 weeks. Although technically I could just do that. You don't want to hear that. This is more an overview and some key points I want to discuss about Mbeumo, about Amorim, about the strategy, and about a big problem I've got with Ratcliffe. I'd actually argue the biggest problem. Let me explain. I'm not going to sit in this video and waste your time by moaning about something that you're already moaning about, but I need to speak about Mbeumo, the strategy, the approach, the balance, the pros and the cons, and unfortunately how there are more cons now outweighing the pros. And I want to speak about Ratcliffe. You can let me know where your frustrations lie in this, but I know exactly where they lie. You're frustrated that it was the 27th of June when we heard that Mbeumo wanted to join United, and it's the 17th of July, and he still hasn't joined United. The first bid went in the next day, 55 mil. Then we waited 2 weeks. Does anybody actually still understand why that period of 2 weeks between the first and the second bid? I don't understand that bit. But that massive delay is a big part of what this problem is, because by delaying it, which is part of the tactic, part of the approach, and Ratcliffe's firm top number, which is what I'm going to speak about in a minute, it allowed the likes of the Elanga deal, 55 mil to Newcastle, and João Pedro's 60-ish mil to Chelsea from Brighton. It allowed those two to indirectly affect United's negotiations for Mbeumo, because instead of gaining leverage by waiting, we're losing leverage, and transfers are all about leverage. When it comes to the actual valuation of Mbeumo, we know that it's more than what United are offering. Don't actually know the exact figure. See numbers between 65 and 70 mil being linked. 62.5 mil, it's the exact same that we paid for Cunha. But here is where I want to speak about Ratcliffe and the problem. All right, you go down here. United's push to buy Bryan Mbeumo has stalled after Brentford raised their valuation to closer to 70 mil, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe intent on not being pushed into paying more than his club's 65 mil valuation. Right? If Brentford are moving the goalposts, it's bad behaviour. I think they've always really wanted 70 mil from the start, which is actually a number I thought I heard. But Jim Ratcliffe, right? When it comes to the United tax, it is real. And going into this summer, now we can try and pretend that this wasn't the case because of what's happened in the last 4 weeks. But I know that pretty much every single one of you watching this video wanted United to end the United tax. So now that we're stuck in this limbo effectively, as a consequence of United trying to end that tax, people are getting frustrated. So it's like, you kind of can't have your cake and eat it, but this is where it comes to a loggerhead, because by United waiting this long, and now this, I spoke about the Visser interest from Forest, and their bid was like half of what Brentford wanted, which is 50 mil. But Newcastle moving on from Ekitike, because Liverpool are now in for him. We know they've got over 75 mil. And we know, maybe you don't know this for sure, all right? But I'd be amazed in a summer where Brentford have just got outside investment in terms of being an ambitious football club, if they let their captain leave, their manager, and their two best players leave in the same summer. So because of all these delays and the approach from United this summer, we have allowed other stuff to indirectly affect it. And something that's really annoying me here, and I go back to this article here, about Jim Ratcliffe being intent on not going above 65 mil. It's because he wants to get rid of the United tax. It's because he's looking at United and transfers in the same way that you look at buying 1,000 barrels of oil. It's quite a straightforward business transaction. There's not too many variables that can affect the price of it. Someone else can come in and undercut you, sure. But in terms of things actually indirectly affecting it, probably not. That's not how football transfers work. And what I'm seeing and seeing a lot of, and read more of last season and just continuing to see it, it seems like Jim Ratcliffe has got his finger in way too many pies, and micromanaging is hurting United. And I'm going to go back to this example here from The Athletic. You remember this? It was like an end-of-season review. Just this little snippet here. He was talking about Ratcliffe being involved and quite active at the training ground and seeing it, etc., etc. And this was a little snippet. Other staff at Carrington and Old Trafford have felt Ratcliffe's focus too. When entering different rooms at the facilities in his early phase of controlling the club, he asked the likes of messieurs and chefs what they were doing and requested emails to be sent to him outlining why they were doing it. Why are you doing that? Micromanagement. Unnecessary. While offering his own thoughts on various practices, including how he stretched for the London Marathon. It's classic billionaire successful in one business, therefore you should listen to my opinions and my voice in completely unrelated businesses, even if I don't have experience in it. That's micromanaging. That's meddling. Like, if you're going to hire, mate, if you're going to spend X amount of money buying X amount of percentage of United, and you're going to hire Jason Wilcox to be your director of football and Omar Barada to be your CEO, fucking let them do their jobs. Don't think that you know best because you have succeeded elsewhere. And in terms of that United tax, right, this is where the value of getting rid of it is now being outweighed by the damage that's been done by Mbeumo not being in before the first pre-season game against Leeds. And this is why football is different. And this is why United have struggled so much, because we don't have leverage. We don't have enough. People know we're desperate. We can't sell anybody because we know the wages, and it's an issue. And in terms of leverage, and I've said this, and I kind of still stand by it, right? I don't know the ins and outs of transfers, right? It's not my job to. But I'm saying, like, in terms of leverage, if United had, look, for example, gone in, we wouldn't even necessarily have had to put in a bid for Eze. But speak to his agents, speak to Crystal Palace, show intent that we could be interested in signing him. Let those articles come out from Ornstein, from Fabrizio Romano. Let the fans talk about it and the media pressure squeeze it, because Brentford will see it. By doing that, it may have given United more leverage in everything that's been going on with Mbeumo. But as far as Brentford are concerned, and the way that they're looking at this and have been this whole way through, United are purely focused on Mbeumo. There isn't really an alternative. And I actually don't particularly think there is an alternative, because I personally feel that if United do move away from Mbeumo, it won't be to another right winger. It will be to probably pushing Bruno further up the pitch and money actually being invested elsewhere in different positions rather than being a direct alternative for Mbeumo. But if I'm to say, like, about what's going on, I feel for Amorim. I really do. And I just hope that this is... I'm not going to make a judgment on the summer until it's done. All right, I think that would be foolish. But United have approached this summer, correctly, by the way, with the intention of getting rid of the United tax. But by delaying that first to second bid, by allowing other things to now indirectly affect our bid for Mbeumo, and now to the fact that Newcastle are coming in for Visser after missing out on Ekitike, that's where football transfers and the complications of it mean that concessions are going to have to be made. There's now more value in getting a deal done for Mbeumo than there is in just kind of holding out just in case Brentford lower their demands. And why would they? Brentford just keep getting more and more reasons to not lower their demands. They keep getting more cards. They keep getting more leverage. So the waiting game is in fact actually making it more difficult for United rather than the waiting game giving us an edge. That's what I wanted to say, all right? And that's my biggest problem with Ratcliffe so far. Stop meddling. Stop micromanaging. If you're going to hire people and football people, let those football people do their jobs. You sit in the background and pay for things.